Here is a forecast for 2020 for Geminis. Geminis are going to be quite lucky in 2020. Two numbers that you should remember: 4488. We'll find out later on what it means, but it is, in my view, the most important period of their lives in 2020. I'm a Gemini, so I will be expecting to get some reward from what is going to happen on a planetary point of view from the 4th of the 4th until the 8th of the 8th month of the year 2020. Let's have a look at all that now, together with all the other transits that may have also a very interesting influence in the lives of Geminis in 2020. So 4488 are the two numbers, the two dates that you should remember if you were born under that sign, Gemini. We'll have a look at what will happen during this period of time, 4 months, during which you may find yourself much more lucky than in any other time during the whole of the year 2020. So get ready for action. In 2019, which we are still in right now, today is the 21st of August 2019. I make those videos far before the beginning of the year so that I can put them online for you to watch. Anyway, this is the configuration that is operating right now. Jupiter is in Sagittarius, and it will be in Sagittarius until the 3rd of December this year, 2019. And being in Sagittarius, it is forming what we call an opposition with the Sun in your chart. The Sun, because if you were born under that sign, Gemini, it's because the Sun was aligned with that sign when you were born. So we say that you are born under the sign Gemini. It is what we call your sun sign or zodiac sign. Anyway, Jupiter, he's having an influence, a very strong influence on you, and Neptune also, he's having a very strong influence. So you have to be careful about that influence, because Jupiter represents a tendency to do things in excess of enthusiasm, optimism, and trust as well. So you may trust yourself, or you may trust someone to an extent that you will lose a bit of your objectivity and rationalism, which means that you may find yourself in confrontation with a disillusion. And illusions and dreams are represented by Neptune. And you see that Neptune is actually in between Sagittarius and Gemini. It is what we may call the referee in that opposition. It serves to sort of try and get a balance, get both parties to meet an agreement somehow. In politics, we'll say that this is the right wing, the left wing, and in between you got the center. And the center position is the position where the person is able to see what's right on the left side, and what's right on the right side, and what's wrong on the left side, what's wrong on the right side, and try to make a synthesis of this to help both parties to reach an agreement. But Neptune is a planet that represents our tendency to imagination, to dream, to think, to believe. And believing is not a guarantee that what you believe in is the right thing to do, because you may be faced with a deception or a disillusion. So you have to be careful while Jupiter is in Sagittarius. And I can tell you, because I'm a Gemini myself, that I have been quite careful since Jupiter is in Gemini, which is since the 8th of November. it's not all negative. Of course, it's not all negative at all. It may have a very beneficial influence, actually, if you are careful. And if you deal with what you have to deal with in an orderly manner, and as well in an official, administratively speaking, or legally speaking. This is a time of your life also where you could find yourself in a situation when you want to get involved in a relationship, in a partnership, be it professional or personal. Same thing, you may get yourself in trouble if you are not careful about what may be the outcome of that relationship or partnership, whatever it is. So by being careful, you will benefit from the influence of Jupiter, which represents evolution. Success is represented by Jupiter as well. Growth is represented by Jupiter. So you may also find that Jupiter helps you get along with other people in a better way. You will feel probably more at ease with other people in general, which will make you more attractive to other people as well. And if you are looking for a job, or if you want to sign a contract, if you need to sign a contract, you'll probably be helped by the influence of Jupiter, but at the same time, you will need to be very careful and very objective about what you do in order not to do something that you may regret afterwards, you see, because Neptune is there to actually make things quite blurry. And in a fog, you don't see as well as when there is no fog. So naturally, you have to be more careful when you go forward in order not to get into an incident or an accident, especially if you drive a car through fog, you know. So life may be like that at times. And if you are wondering what you are going to do, why should you do this rather than that, if for a while now you're not sure of your position, of the objective that you want to reach or the summit that you want to reach, just wait and see. Let things go for a while, relax and wait until Jupiter changes sign, because then you will be much more objective and you will be much more efficient as well at doing what you need to do to survive in this cruel world, or to succeed in your ventures or projects that you may have to realize in 2020 or even later, who knows. From the 3rd of December then onwards, until the 20th of December next year, 2020, Jupiter will transit in Capricorn. I've drawn that in green here, because Jupiter is going to reach the position of Saturn and Pluto. Now, Saturn has been in Capricorn since the 21st of December 2017, and it will remain in that sign, first of all, until the 23rd of March 2020. And then it will progress in Aquarius for 4 months. Not even that, because on the 3rd of July, due to a retrogradation movement, you know, a reverse mode, of course the planet is not going to reverse, it's just from our point of view here on Earth, it will seem that Saturn is moving backwards, because the Earth is, of course, revolving around the Sun much faster, 29.5 times faster than Saturn. So, of course, we overtake Saturn very often. And when we do, it seems, because we are not feeling that we are moving on this Earth around the Sun and around itself, which is quite fast actually, we don't feel anything. It seems that it is Saturn that is retrograding, and it is the same for all the other situations like that for all other planets. So anyway, they when Saturn retrograde, it is of course showing less energy because the planet is getting farther from the sun, from the Earth, sorry, and that has a physical repercussion, and that repercussion is to lessen the influence of Saturn. But the influence of Saturn is very interesting. It will be very interesting as soon as that planet reaches Aquarius. But right now it is in Capricorn, and when Jupiter reaches the position of Saturn, it will also reach the position of Pluto. Now Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008, and of course, because Pluto represents what we need to regenerate, to transform, to abandon, to let go, more or less, or perhaps it's also representing what we need to accept as far as what we have lost in not so distant past, sorry, or perhaps a distant past. Anyway, the relationship between Saturn and Pluto has begun on the 21st of December 2017, and from that date onward until Saturn reaches the position of Pluto, which is the case right now more or less, but which will be the case much more evidently in 2020, then it will signal the time when we need to accept concretely, objectively, what we have lost and turn a page and say, okay, now I get on with my life. I can move forward because the weight of what I was pulling behind myself is gone. I have cut the link with the past and I'm feeling now free and I can move forward. And you see, Saturn will move forward. It will move into Aquarius on the 23rd of March 2020. And when it does, you see, it becomes blue. Because when it is blue, it is good. When it is green, it is so-so. Now that means that while Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto are in Capricorn, the notion of progressing and success, the notion of work to do, effort to put into what you want to do and achieve, and the notion of what you need to regenerate, to abandon, to let go, as I said, represented by Pluto, is not quite clear. It seems that you more or less give more chance to time to do things for you rather than you will do things for time. So you can wait and see what happens, but nothing much will happen if you don't do anything to make it happen. So either you become a victim of your life and of the events that may transform it, change it, and affect it in many ways, or you become the ruler of your own life, the master of your own life. Then you decide. And if you are able to decide while Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto are in this Capricorn here, then when Saturn reaches the sign Aquarius, a transformation is going to make itself much clearer in a very objective and rational manner, because this is an air sign, just like Gemini is an air sign and Libra is also an air sign. And signs representing the same elements are compatible and complementary as well. They are, friends. So whatever is in this sign compared to whatever is in this one is, of course, in a friendly relationship. So when Saturn reaches the position of Aquarius, when it enters into that sign, it will be the first time in 29 and a half years, because that's the time that Saturn takes to travel around the zodiac. So the last time it happened, that's a long time ago. And because it is a long time ago, it means perhaps that what you did a long time ago, what you did about 29, 30 years ago, when Saturn was in Aquarius, may bring you a reward when Saturn is again in Aquarius. And it will only remain in Aquarius, as I said earlier, for a number of months. From the 23rd of March next year, 2020, until the 3rd of July 2020. So during that time, of course, Saturn is going to be very timidly entering or traveling in Aquarius. I think it will reach 1 degree something, 150, 157, you see. And when it reaches 157 on the 12th of May, it will start the retrogradation movement, a reverse mode, and it will go back into Capricorn on the 3rd of July. And then it will start to a direct movement again on the 30th of September, but it will then be in Capricorn. But on the 18th of December, it will enter in Aquarius again. So the first occurrence of that short transit is very interesting because it's like a window opening, and that window will open on a new horizon. According to what you want to achieve in life, according to what you have been working for within the last, I don't know, perhaps the last 10 years, the last 20 years, or the last year. I'm not sure about that because I don't have your chart to assess that. I'm only talking about the forecast relating to your sun sign, but I believe that the sun is the major and principal energy in that solar system of ours, and without the sun we wouldn't be here to talk about it, that's for sure. So anything that's affecting the energy of the sun in a chart has repercussions in all other areas of life, because the sun is life, and it is your life. It is your life physically and psychologically as well, and it has, of course, an incidence in all areas of your life. So when Saturn reaches Aquarius and when it begins its transit in that sign, what you are going to assess is very important, because then Saturn will go back in Capricorn, as I said earlier, for a few months again, and the situation then will be to go back onto what you need still to look for, to look at, to analyze objectively, in order to make sure that when Saturn goes back into Aquarius on the 18th of December 2020, so towards the end of next year, then you are ready for action, as I may say, and ready to really take advantage of what you will be able to get from your life. But that's according to the effort you put in, for sure, because Saturn represents work, responsibilities, and our ability to assume our responsibilities and to face up to our responsibilities in order to progress, to become stronger and more solid in life. That's Saturn for you. And Saturn in your chart represents anything to do with house number 8 in astrology, which is the sector of a chart that represents our dealing with money on a social point of view. So imagine that you want to buy a place of residence, or you need to apply for a loan with the bank, or you want to invest some money. Eh bien, Saturn is there to make it possible. And when Jupiter transits in Capricorn, therefore has an incidence on your 8th house as well, then of course the evolution of your ability to invest, to get money, to make money work for you will become much more intense and a source, most probably a source of satisfaction. And because Jupiter represents the other person in your life, be it 1 or 10 or 1,000, the other people in your life, there is most probably a kind of partnership that will allow you to get into that financial business in a much stronger way. Because when you are alone and facing up to realities by yourself, it may be more difficult than to do it with someone else by your side, especially someone you trust and someone with whom you may expect also to get things much better for both of you, or for the number of people that may be involved in that project or objective that you want to reach. And you will have the opportunity to reach a summit in 2020, towards the end of 2020. Because I was just talking about Jupiter earlier. Jupiter is going to enter in Capricorn on the 3rd of December this year, 2019, and it will leave on the 20th of December 2020. So that's 2 days, only 2 days after Saturn does the same. So Jupiter and Saturn are going to meet together in that sign, Aquarius, on and about Christmas next year, 2020. So by the time that happens, you will have had to do a lot of things, of course, to make it happen for you. Because that influence, even if you don't do anything, even if you just sit and wait for the cosmic energy to make it happen in your life, something will happen. Of course, you will be favored by this configuration here. Jupiter is going to remain in Aquarius for about a year, so the whole of 2021 will be, of course, marked by the transit of Jupiter in Aquarius. But Saturn is going to remain more than 2 years in that sign. And it will be a great help for you, for sure, to achieve, to progress, and to get things in a very concrete manner, to become or to be what you want things to be in your life. So there is a potential, a very strong potential of evolution and success, but it has a price, and the price to pay is the effort that you will make to get what you want to get, and then you will reap the rewards for sure. So that's a very interesting situation, but that's not all. As we have seen earlier on, 4488, remember that. But before we talk about, this 4488 business, I'd like to mention also the influence of Uranus. Now, Uranus is in Taurus, and it's been in Taurus since the 6th of March this year, 2019. And it's going to remain in Taurus for about 7 years. In Taurus, that it is in a sign that precedes your sign. So that means that when Uranus finishes that transit in Taurus, it's going to transit your sign. And it will be there for 7 years. So it is, of course, a very important transit, because it is also a unique transit in the fact that Uranus takes 84 years to travel right around the zodiac. So depending on your age, of course, this may be the first time that it happens. If it's not the first time, if it is the second time, it's because you are aged more than 84 years. So anyway, the transit of Uranus in Taurus is probably going to be quite interesting in 2020 because, no, this is not what I wanted to show. What I wanted to show is that trine here. You see, there is a beneficial aspect between Capricorn and Taurus because this is an earth sign, this is an earth sign, and this is the third earth sign. So anything in earth sign is, like I said earlier about the air signs, compatible and complementary. So they are very friendly. And Uranus represents what we want to change in life. Now, Uranus in Taurus has an incidence on the past in your life. And this is what needs to be changed. You'll say, no, I can't change the past. No, of course, you can't change what happened, but you can change the way you look at what happened. And perhaps that will free you from some grief, anger, and anything negative that may be holding you back or that may have an influence on your behavior and on the way you look at life and deal with life in general. So Uranus is there to help you get rid, actually, of what is bothering you in order to free yourself from that burden, from that weight, and then be able to move forward much faster towards the goals that you want to reach and towards perhaps success and happiness. Yes, why not? Then I would like to talk about Mars. Mars is a fast planet. It takes 2 years only to travel around the zodiac. So being a fast planet, it is known in astrology as a triggering planet. You see, the slowest planet is Pluto. Pluto takes 248 years to travel around the zodiac. Saturn 29.5, Jupiter 12 years, Uranus 84 years, and Neptune 165 years. Now, Mars will transit in Sagittarius from early next year, from the 4th of January until the 17th of February. Now, during that period of time, you will probably find yourself a bit more tensed, a bit more impatient. And if you are too impatient, you may do things too quickly for your own good, not thinking about the risk that you may take and not thinking about other people. You see, across your sign is the sign Sagittarius, and it represents you dealing with other people. And when Mars transits that sign, which is opposite your sign, you feel more tensed about dealing with other people, and you have less patience, and then it makes, of course, it opens the doors for conflicts and all sort of disputes and disagreements and so on. And because you may feel yourself more aggressive, it's also because you will feel that other people are more aggressive with you. So you will react to defend yourself, to protect yourself, or whatever. And that will lead to some incidents if you are not careful enough. And because Neptune is in between those two, just like I explained earlier about Jupiter when it was in Sagittarius, now Neptune is not the best planet to decide who is right, who is wrong. Neptune is more the dreaming side and the imagination side of our personality. So if you work on presumptions or intuition, and you believe what other people tell you, you believe what you've heard or think that you've heard, then if you react too quickly to that belief or intuition or whatever presumption, then you'll make mistakes. And those mistakes, of course, may lead you to have some problems to deal with later on. And not very far away from that period of time. So take it very easy during that period of time And if you need to or have to, if you work, for example, in an area which is, quite intense physically or mentally, then during that period of time, try to sort of, be cool. If you take things more not so seriously, then you will feel probably much better. Otherwise, you could get into trouble during that period of time. So, I've said it. Now, you do what you like, of course. I know for myself that I will be very careful during that period of time. As a Gemini, I will have to. Now, after that, Mars will transit in Capricorn. And you know that in Capricorn, we talked about it before, there is Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. Now, Mars is going to transit in Capricorn until the 21st of March. And then it will transit in Aquarius. But while it is in Capricorn, it has to do with the investment and dealing with money matters, as I explained earlier about these 8 signs from your sign, which is relating to the 8th house, astrological house, relating to money and your dealings with other people, with society, with the banks and so on. And so if you have a project, if you need to go to the bank, if you need to invest money, if you want to invest money, then it may be a great moment to decide what you want to do. But because it is green, as you can see here, and as I said earlier, green is not the better color. It's a color that represents our tendency to more or less hope for, but not really do things to achieve what we hope for. But Mars represents your ability to act and react, to make decisions, and to combat and defend yourself and so on. So when it transits that sign, it will very much so make you more efficient and more decisive in dealing with money matters and all sorts of matters that will have also connotation in relationship, because as I've said earlier, Jupiter represents also relationship in your life. So if you have a project and if you are dealing with someone else, one or more people, then you can expect during that period of time to be much more intense about sharing and doing things together in order to reach the goal that you want to reach. And it's not that far, that reachable goal for you, because when Mars changes sign to get into into Aquarius, then it is going to become very interesting. And that is going to happen on the 31st of March. Now, on the 23rd of March, as I said earlier, Saturn is going to enter in Aquarius. And when it does, 1 week later or 8 days later, Mars comes around. And Mars is much faster than Saturn. So it will come into a conjunction within a few days. And that means that early April, Mars and Saturn will unite in relationship in a very positive, you see that blue line here, in a very positive relationship with your sun sign. And that will bestow a lot of positive energy onto you. And it is energy that will allow you to act, that's Mars, according to what you worked for before, that's Saturn. And the association, the partnership between those two will allow you to be much more objective, constructive, realistic, and efficient in the way you do things. And Mars will remain in Aquarius until the 15th of May. So 6 weeks, about 6 weeks, during which you will probably benefit a lot from the influence of Mars, because it does represent anyone's ability to act. So when Mars is in a nice configuration according to one sign, then it does help a lot that person to be more efficient in anything that person does. And you will be more efficient, and I will be more efficient as well, which is good news. Then Mars is going to transit in Pisces. And we know that in Pisces there is Neptune. Now, Neptune has been in Pisces since 2012. 2012, that's a long time ago. And it's going to remain in that sign until 2026. 14 years. That's the time that Neptune needs to go through one sign. Now, it's a long time, of course. And it's a time during which Neptune is very strong, because Neptune is Pisces' sign. So it is the ruler of that sign, Pisces, as we say in astrology. Therefore, it is very strong in that sign. And because it is very strong, it is also very blurry, because that's what represents Neptune, especially when it's not in a very good disposition toward the sign of a person, which is the case with Gemini. As you see that red line here, it is a dissonant aspect, as we say in astrology. This is a water sign, this is an air sign. It's true, there is water in the air and there is air in water. But if you try to mix air and water, you'll have some problems, because air is going to, flee very quickly and disappear, and you can't even see air. So mixing air and water is not simple. It's not as simple as mixing water and earth, for example. You see, there is a blue line here, because water and earth are two elements that mix together very, very easily. So the fact that Neptune is in a dissonant configuration with your sign shows that you need to be careful. And also, it also indicates that perhaps since about 2012, you're not sure of anything. You're not sure of where you are standing, where you are going, why you are going there, and so on and so forth. So you are, of course, trying hard to make things less blurry by perhaps trying to think in a more rational way and do things as rationally as possible. But Neptune still remains the question mark in your life. And that question mark is high up, because Neptune, according to your sign, is the 10th one. And it is therefore linked to the 10th house, the midheaven, as we call it in astrology, that represents your social situation and position, your career position, and your objectives in life, your potential to succeed in life, and your relationship with authority as well. So if all that is quite blurry, it also means that you may have more intuition to put into that situation in order to make ends meet, in order not to get lost and to achieve a good result in any case. And when Mars transits in that sign, it will do so until the 29th of June. So during that time, of course, Mars may incite you to act or to react on presumption or on intuition, just as I explained when Mars was here, traveling through Sagittarius between the 4th of January until the 17th of February. You'd have to be careful not to make decisions if you are not sure, if you cannot guarantee that the decision that you make is going to lead to a success which is going to be a concrete success and not something that you imagine to be a success. Imagination is interesting, intuition is interesting as well, but it has to be backed up by something much more concrete in order to realize anything that you may feel is right or wrong. But if you feel that something is wrong, for example, and Mars makes you act and react accordingly, you may react in a wrong manner. You may feel that something is wrong, but you may be wrong to feel that something is wrong. So just think and analyze before you do react. Otherwise, you will make mistakes, and these mistakes may also put you into trouble. From the 29th of June until the 7th of January 2021, Mars will transit in Aries. Aries is Mars' sign. Very strong Mars in Aries. You know that Mars in mythology is the god of war. It represents our aggressiveness, but also our ability to fight and defend ourselves, to win the fight of life, and to impose yourself. You need the energy of Mars. And when Mars transits in Aries, you see there is a blue line with your sign, because your sign is an air sign, and Aries is a fire sign. And as we know, fire and air need one another. Without air, fire cannot burn. And without fire, without the warmth of the sun, which is fire, the air is just a block of ice, nothing interesting in which we could live. So air and fire are friends. And Mars is going to be your friend for all that time, 6 months, during which you will find yourself much more able to do the things that you may not have been able to do before. You will probably feel more athletic. You may feel that you need to do more exercise and to move more, to walk and to do sports or whatever. But on an average point of view, the influence of Mars in good relationship with your sun sign for such a long time will definitely help you achieve what you have not been able to achieve in other times during your life. So it is quite a rare situation. The last time it happened in that sign, Aries, it was in 1988. So it's a long time ago. And because it is a long time ago, 32 years before, it means that you should look at this transit as being very important because it is rare. And because Mars is Aries' ruler, as we say, Mars is the planet representing Aries in astrology. It is very, very strong in that sign. You see there is a red line here with what is in Capricorn. Now, Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn in difficult relationship with Mars, that's not very good for the planet. It's not very good for the world, because it's going to become very tensed everywhere, and we'll probably also witness some situations on a meteorological point of view, and perhaps also some tremors around the world, and some volcanoes and so on. You'll say, well, it happens every year, that's for sure. But because of this configuration that is going to last for 6 months, I'm pretty sure that 2020 will be a historical year, and not only for yourself on the good point of view, it will be for many people, and it will probably be also a very disruptive year indeed. So because it is in good relationship with your sign, you should benefit from the energy of Mars. And that will help you, even though there may be a lot of trouble around, to pull the strings more or less, and to get through without being harmed too much. So you may even benefit from what happens around you that is not so nice. In some way, that position of Mars, that transit of Mars for about 6 months is going to protect you, because it is going to make you more efficient in fighting for what you want to defend, and also it will make you much faster moving. So if you need to have good reflexes in situations when those reflexes are vital, then you will have those reflexes, and then you will succeed where other people won't, of course, unfortunately. But fortunately for you, that influence of Mars is going to be your friend for about 6 months. Not bad. And now, to end this video, let's talk about 4488. 4488. What is going to happen then? Let's have a look at it. From the 4th of April until the 8th of August, for 4 months, Venus is going to transit your sign. It happens every year, but it happens every year for only 3 weeks. This year, 2020, we've seen that Mars was going to remain in Aries for 6 months. Well, Venus is going to remain in Gemini for 4 months. And those two are going to be very friendly, because they are in friendly signs. Element of air, element of fire. Now, Venus represents luck. The good things of life in general are represented by Venus. When Venus transits your sign, you feel better, and other people see you in a better way as well. You are more sympathetic, and you are perhaps more compassionate about other people. You are more open-minded. You are more easygoing, and therefore other people are more attracted to you. Jupiter is the planet that represents the expansion of our personality, to make that personality even bigger than what we see it. So when Jupiter transits one sign, which is not going to happen for quite a few years yet, but when Jupiter transits your sign, Gemini, it will last for a year and not for 4 months. Now, that will happen, this is 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25. In 2025, Jupiter is going to transit your sign. But in 2020, Venus is going to do the same. And Venus is a bit the little sister of Jupiter, in the sense that it does represent our ability to make things better, to make things nicer. And you will feel nicer as well. And you will probably look nicer to other people as well. So it must probably help you get more out of life. And because Mars is going to be in a nice configuration with Venus in your chart, then of course it will help you get more, because Mars represents your ability to act, and Venus represents your ability to more or less to take advantage of what is nice around you and in your life in general. So if you are more prepared and more active to make things happen for you in a nicer way, of course that's going to help. And then Saturn will also be around Aquarius during that time, so it will also help you get things in a very concrete manner. So what happens during that period of time is very interesting, because it means that the first 6 months of 2020 are the month during which you will need to assess exactly, precisely what you want to do. And then you will achieve what you want to achieve from the end of June onwards. And then, of course, life is not going to end, because in 2021 there will be some very interesting transits as well. But I'll talk about them when, of course, I make the videos next year for 2021. Until then, I wish you a very happy year, 2020. And if you need more advice, or if you need a complete forecast, or just a reply to one question that you may have, don't hesitate to visit my website, and you will find all the information necessary to make a request, whatever that request is. I will be very pleased to help you in any way I can. Thank you very much again for your attention and for your interest in my work. Bye for now.